And we are back. It is Tuesday, 9th day of July, 2024. I am Dan Kuntz. Thanks for starting your day with us here on the NCW Live channel. This is Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on another very mild morning, 73 degrees. You see the haze behind me. That's all from the Pioneer Fire up above Lake Chelan, about 30 miles north of Lake Chelan up on the North Shore. Quite a ways from us, but we're still under the influence of this extremely strong and well-entrenched dome of high pressure, and there's simply no place for the smoke to go. Air quality in Chelan right now is 88. That's moderate. It ain't too bad, but it's still up there, and it's still burning, and it's going to be a hot one today. We have it all. We have an excessive heat warning. We have a red flag warning. We have a fire weather watch. It is summertime in July, but who's kidding you? It's hot. We hit 103 yesterday, tied the record high for July 8th, set back in 1968, and tied in 2012, and again yesterday, 103. Record high for today, 105 degrees. That was set back in 1975, and we have a very good chance of breaking that. The big thing is tomorrow, because it's still going to be hot, but it's going to be windy. The ridge is going to flatten out. It's going to allow the pressure gradients to tighten up a little bit. I'm a little worried about tomorrow. All of those details are coming up. It's just going to be hot. That's all there is to it. And it doesn't take very long to get hot either. Once the sun really gets up and gets going, and I know it's kind of hazy, it may filter the sunshine a little bit, but once the sun really gets cooking 10:30, 11 or so, the temperatures rise rather dramatically. It's warm. I usually like the heat, but I'm not a big fan of this stuff. News, we're going to do that. Sports, pretty quiet. Of course, the Mariners didn't play. They had Monday off. Apple Sox didn't play. They had yesterday off. They're both back in action today. Apple Sox at home, taking on the Edmonton Riverhawks. The Mariners on the road down in San Diego to take on the Padres. We'll talk a little baseball. And speaking of talking baseball, Joel Norman will be my guest. Stormin' Joel Norman, the broadcasting voice of the Wenatchee Apple Sox. We have ourselves a good baseball team. We'll talk about the just finished road trip. They took 2 of 3 from the Harbor Cats up in Victoria. Then they took 2 of 3 from Nanaimo. And now with Edmonton in town, it's always nice to beat the teams in the same division you are. Apple Sox are hoping to win both the first and second half division titles. Wouldn't that be nice? They already locked in a playoff position. They won the first half. Baseball talk with Joel Norman, and Mike McNaughty will have an opinion as well. 3 minutes after the hour, we got some hazy photos to show for you. Live videos, of course, from the Wenatchee Heights camera. You can see the haze up in the Chelan area. It's much more prevalent in Chelan than it is down here, but the hot temperatures are going to continue right through the rest of the week. There is going to be slightly cooler temperatures on Thursday and Friday. It's all relative, and then guess what? We warm up again this weekend. I kid you not. So no relief from the heat, and the worst part is zero precipitation in the forecast. Absolutely none, and we need it. We talked about the smoke up Lake Chelan Way. Here's a live shot from our Bear Mountain camera pointed up towards the Pioneer Fire. That's what we're talking about right there. The Pioneer Fire continues to burn. Of course, it's really in a remote area, steep terrain. It's actually burning in an old burn scar from about 20 years ago, but there's still enough fuel, and obviously it's hot and it's dry. Relative humidity is very dry, so it's a tad on the smoky and hazy side up Lake Chelan Way. You can even see the haze from our Leavenworth camera, and this is quite a bit of ways, obviously from the Pioneer Fire, but you can see a little hazy in Leavenworth as well. By the way, I mentioned that we tied a record high yesterday of 103, set back in 1968, and tied in 2012. As we switch to the Stein Hill camera looking out over Olalla Canyon, you can see Highway 2 and the Wenatchee River. We hit 103, Moses Lake yesterday 101, not quite a record. Ephrata 102, Omak hit 105, but it wasn't a record. The record high in Omak for July the 8th was 107, so they didn't get there. We are, by the way, probably, if everything pans out the way the National Weather Service is predicting, going to set a new record today. So that's the Stein Hill camera. Little breezy at the very tip top of Stein Hill, but that's part and parcel. It's a top of a hill. It's going to be a little windy, looking out towards the Olalla Canyon and the Peshastin Pinnacles. All right, couple of slides to show for you before we get into the weather. First of all, a red flag warning. It started yesterday afternoon, goes through tonight. Of course, you know the recipe by now. Super hot temperatures, bone dry humidity. We're talking about humidity less than 20% relative humidity, and a little on the breezy side, so it's going to be hot. And any fire that gets going could really get going before first responders can get a handle on things. That is for today. Tomorrow, things are a little dicier as we talk about the fire weather watch, and this is really making people nervous. Again, extremely low relative humidity. Common sense obviously rules the day, but any fire that gets going, any fire with a combination of gusty winds, low humidity, any fire that gets going will really take off, because it's going to be the last thing we need tomorrow, hot and windy. And we have a good chance of setting a record high on Wednesday as well. Today, going to be the hottest of this period. Slightly cooler Wednesday, and I'm not being facetious, just like a couple of degrees, but still triple digits. We're going right back up to triple digits, because some people just talk about the weather. Here at the NCW Life Channel, we really talk about the weather. Here you go, folks. Buckle up. How about 108 for the afternoon high? Again, the record high on the state, July 9th, 105, set back in 1975. Once we get to about noon or 1, it's just plain gonna be hot for the rest of the day. 77 for the overnight low tonight. That is very mild. It's also going to be a little hazy, obviously, with the Pioneer Fire burning. Tomorrow's big story is the wind. Not much, but it's the gusts that we're concerned about. The wind out of the northwest will be about 10 to 15 miles an hour, but gusts above 20 is a distinct possibility as this ridge begins to flatten out on Wednesday. It's going to be very windy on Wednesday night, but at least it'll be a little bit cooler, and the relative humidity will be a little bit higher. This is the time of the day where the relative humidity is at its highest, and as the day progresses, it dries out. So a little bit cooler Thursday. Not going to give your air conditioning much of a break with a high of 99. They'll be warm right back up again. 101 Friday, 101 Saturday, 102 Sunday, 100 on Monday. So outside of Thursday, the day after tomorrow, triple digits across the board. We are probably going to break a record high today, and we have a chance of breaking a record high tomorrow, and we'll be dealing with the wind as well. Wednesday is going to be a very nerve-wracking day for those professionals who fight wildfires for a living. We want them to be bored. We want them to be sitting around the station playing cribbage, and I hope that's the case tomorrow. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll have the news. You're watching a Tuesday edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life Channel. The family at the Epladolin want to help your loved one feel at ease in their new home environment. Epladolin offers beautiful one-bedroom and studio apartments. Residents enjoy 3 delicious home-style meals a day, laundry service, housekeeping service, and encouragement to make themselves cozy in their new home. Epladolin welcomes your family to come and visit their family. Epladolin, independent and assisted living. They make the complicated easy for you. Call today for a tour.
As sheriff, I arrested rioters, rapists, and mass murderers, locked up human traffickers who preyed on women and children. On my watch, everyone was accountable. Despite being the Attorney General for 12 years, Bob Ferguson does not take responsibility for the rapid increase in crime and homelessness, businesses moving out of state, and jobs lost. And he thinks he deserves a promotion?
Dave Reichert.
If you are looking for dependable car service and repair, visit the good guys at Quick Lube and Tune. They've been keeping cars and trucks in the Wenatchee Valley running smooth for 35 years. Quick Lube and Tune is your hometown shop for a 10-minute oil change, complete tune-ups, alignments, brakes, mufflers, air conditioning service, and more. Get more life out of your vehicle by bringing it to the local guys you can trust at Quick Lube and Tune on South Wenatchee Avenue.
Don't miss the Grant County Fair in Moses Lake, August 13th through the 17th. Leading the entertainment list is Diamond Rio, Thursday, August 15th, with special guest Katie Wade. Friday night is 90s favorite Chingy with special guest DJ Precise. And Wednesday night, 2 of the best tribute bands in the country, Best of Both Worlds, a Van Halen tribute, and Crazy Train, an Ozzy tribute. VIP tickets are available at gcfairgrounds.com. Tad on the hazy side, as you can tell by looking behind me, 73 degrees, 108 for the afternoon high today, triple digits Wednesday, in addition to breezy conditions. We have a fire weather watch, we have a red flag warning, we have an excessive heat warning, all three going on right now in the Wenatchee Valley in north central Washington. It's 10 minutes after the hour. Thad Lawson, the veterans nonprofit administrator who lost a state lawsuit over repeated instances of sexual harassment, is appealing the $1.4 million verdict against him. Lawson, his wife Karen Jean Monroe, and his nonprofit agency filed a notice of appeal Monday asking to overturn the jury verdict that found him liable for harassment and on-the-job retaliation against women who worked at his Veteran Warehouse thrift stores in Wenatchee and in Kennewick. The jury awarded damages to 12 victims ranging from $20,000 to $275,000 plus $17,000 in back wages. Lawson's attorneys says he's going to appeal the findings on questions surrounding the judge's instructions to the jury, as well as rulings made ahead of trial and the monetary judgment itself. Of course, with temperatures expected to break record high temperatures again today, the Chelan County PUD has come out with their annual tips on how to stay cool. Of course, number one, set your thermostat to the highest temperature that you're comfortable at. If you got ceiling fans, turn them on because circulating the air will keep it cooler. Use your microwave instead of your oven when you're cooking, because the oven is hot, of course. And make sure that your air conditioning filter is clean. The list also suggests using ventilation to keep heat from building up in your home, so turning on the exhaust fans in your kitchen and your bathroom can help get rid of some of the hot air. Good news for you folks who live in Peshastin. The bridge that connects the town of Peshastin to Highway 2 could reopen by the end of this week. It's been closed since June 17th for a major resurfacing project, and that's been forcing local people to use North Road to get to Highway 2. Chelan County Public Works Department says concrete that was poured for the new bridge deck is in the process of curing. While there are a few steps still to be taken, the planned opening date of Friday, July 12th, remains in effect. The Peshastin Bridge is among 5 county bridges that are undergoing improvements this summer. Chelan County expects to spend about $3.6 million on all 5 projects. Roundabouts can be confusing for some drivers, and if you want to learn more, well, there's a chance for you to learn more about how to navigate a roundabout. The City of Wenatchee is hosting a workshop to educate locals on roundabouts, traffic circles that have replaced a lot of 4-way stops all over the Wenatchee Valley. The presentation will take place on July 18th from 5:15 to 6:45 at the City Council chambers at Wenatchee City Hall, right across the street from our studios. The workshop is supported by funding from Washington's Climate Commitment Act. The CCA supports climate action efforts by investing funds into projects that reduce pollution, create jobs, and improve public health. A brewery brought Ben Gresh and Peter Siderius together 7 years ago, and now the two friends have banded together to create Pinnacle Beer Works, a family-friendly brew pub at 13 North Mission. It's set to open a little bit later on this summer. Our very own Casey Safford caught up with the two men to get all the details.
Yeah, so we both started at Wenatchee Valley Brewing in 2017, I think it was, and worked together there for a couple of years before Ben moved on and started brewing for Blewett Brewing up in Leavenworth. And even back then, there was always a little part of us that thought, oh, we should do this ourselves one day. And then actually it was about 2 years ago that we kind of came back together and we're like, if we're going to do it, let's do it now. And we started working on it. And so we just been good buddies ever since and got started together, and we thought it'd be a good idea to do it ourselves.
So how long has this friendship been in the works? Since 2017? Was that when you met, when you were both working there?
Yep, exactly. That's the first time we met, and Peter hired me on the spot.
All right, so what made you settle on this space here at the newly renovated press hall for this?
It fell into our lap. For a while there, we were just touring anything and everything that we could find. We actually toured the old fire station. We toured a couple places downtown. And then we toured this place, and we were talking to the owners, and they basically said, what we really want to do is put in a brewery. And we were like, well, what we really want to do is put in a brewery. And so we just started working with them. It's been a really good relationship ever since.
Perfect. So what exactly will Pinnacle Beer Works offer to local customers besides beer? Is there going to be food or anything like that?
That's a great question. Yes, there is going to be food as well. We're going to be a brew pub, so we have a full kitchen. And so we're going to offer, we haven't quite come up with a name yet, but it's where a pizza meets a sandwich.
Oh.
So we're going to take our house-made pizza dough and we're going to incorporate that into a sandwich. And so it's kind of a surprise, and we're waiting to see once it rolls out.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how that turns out. That sounds really fun. So will everything be brewed here on site, as I see always behind us?
For the most part, I mean, we're going to be brewing all of our own beers. We'll probably have some seltzers and some non-alcoholic things that we make, carbonated water. But we do also want to support other local companies, and so we're going to try to get some local ciders on tap. We'll try to have some wines in-house that obviously we are not making ourselves, but we try to keep it within the valley, within the county.
So how do you choose what style of beer to brew? Are you striving to create types you feel are underrepresented at our local bar scene, or is this kind of catering to the more staple beers that people expect to find at a brewery?
You got to kind of do a little bit of both. I mean, there are beers that we're going to want to make and experiment with and have fun with that are not probably going to be drank by as many people. And then there are the beers that people really want, like your IPAs or your easy drinking lagers, that of course we're going to have those on tap. But we also want to make sure we have that little mix of like, here's something fun that we did, you should try this. Even if you don't like it, it's interesting.
Yeah, along with some seasonal varieties. We're going to be very seasonal here. Washington State offers tons of fresh local ingredients, so we're going to try to incorporate that into our not only our beer but our food product as well.
Great. So when will you officially be opening? Is there a date picked for that yet? And will you be doing anything special when that opening day comes?
We will be doing something special. Yeah, we're going to have a grand opening. It'll probably be some sort of party, a few days, maybe some live music, something along those lines. That date is a moving target right now. We're very hopeful for sometime in August. Permitting with permits and everything along those lines. We are hoping to nail it in those 31 days.
Great. And so the last question I have for you is, when you look ahead into the future for Pinnacle Beer Works, what do you see?
A lot of different things. But ideally, we want to make a fun, exciting place, and we want to hopefully expand in the future and maybe eventually have cans on shelves in Plaza Superjet, maybe have tap houses in Chelan and Spokane, and just kind of start growing and letting more people experience this cool atmosphere that we're planning to create.
That's great.
Yeah, I hope to see just a fun community gathering place that supports the local community and has some, integral employees that will help us succeed long term.
Perfect. Well, thank you guys so much. That was all that I had.
Thank you.
Great, thanks.
And finally, on this Thursday, the Wenatchee Rescue Mission and the Sage Bluff Migrant Farm Worker Housing Development in Malaga are two new stops made by the Bookmobile from NCW Libraries. The Bookmobile, of course, is a library on wheels. It visits remote areas that are miles away from the nearest branch of the library. NCW Libraries Rural Services Manager Mary Lou Guerrero says the two new stops are breaking barriers by providing services to communities who face the most barriers in trying to get to libraries and library services. Guerrero told us the organization wants to make it clear the library is for everybody and everybody is welcome. Overall, the Bookmobile is making 20 regular community stops this summer in Chelan, Douglas, and Grant counties. And now you know what the heck is going on around the Wenatchee Valley in north central Washington on this Tuesday. If you want to continue to fill your brain full of the information about what the heck's going on around the Wenatchee Valley in north central Washington, we have the news for you tonight at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock, 5, 6, and 10. The news right here on television, or as we like to say in the business, TV. And if you watch it via the World Wide Web, and a lot of you do, we discover that, our news will be posted right around 5 o'clock, give or take a couple, on our homepage, ncwlife.com, our Facebook page, our YouTube page. We have an X, we have an Instagram, we have an app. You can download it right there. The app, just pick up your smartphone and there you go, you got the app. And you're good to go. And if there's something out there that you think is newsworthy, get a hold of us. Send us an email, news@ncwlife.com. Still to come, sports, the obscure holiday today in history, some celebrity birthdays, an opinion from Mad Dog McNaughty. Can't seem to get off this pizza train. And we're talking baseball, specifically Apple Sox baseball, with Joel Norman. It's a busy Tuesday edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
it's a great time to go into the medical profession. And this is the perfect place to start, because this is going to provide you that basic understanding in order to get into medical school, physical therapy school. So when you are ready to head on your career pathway, wherever it is, then you've already had some experience and say, oh, it's so cool. This is exactly what I want to do. So really, you're going to leave me with 13 college credits and a license with the state of Washington.
At Local Myth Pizza, we believe in real food, freshly prepared with only premium ingredients. Our cheeses are imported from Italy. Our sauces, dressings, and even our sausages are made in-house fresh daily. Featuring Northwest craft beers and 30 Chelan Valley wines and ciders. Family fun and amazing food. Eat local, drink local, and be local at Local Myth Pizza.
Come see why Sunset Magazine says you can't beat Local Myth Pizza.
A ductless unit from Carrier can keep anyone comfortable. Take Shelly, for instance. She finds me time in her new attic-turned-home gym. And with her Carrier ductless unit, the temperature is always perfect. No matter how intense her workout gets. Carrier. Total comfort, totally happy.
Turn to the experts, Carrier and Alpine Air. Heat and air, call Alpine Air.
At Kennedy Group, we understand that buying and selling is more than a transaction, and it's more than just a house. This is where you will gather with friends and family, and where a lifetime of memories will be made. But buying a home is more than memories. Oftentimes, it's your biggest financial decision. The agents at Kennedy Group understand this and provide real estate advice based on your goals and dreams. Call us today, and let's find your happy place.
Sports at 22 minutes after the hour. The struggling Seattle Mariners begin a 6-game road trip. They're in San Diego to take on the Padres. Seattle is 30-18 at T-Mobile Park, but they're 19-25 on the road this season. Back on June 18th, the Mariners had a 10-game lead in the AL West. Today, that lead is down to just 2 games over the Astros and 5.5 games over the Rangers. Seattle is 4-6 over their last 10 games. They are 8-12 over their last 20 games. Logan Gilbert, Seattle's lone All-Star representative, will take on Adam Meziere. First pitch on Root Sports tonight is at 6:40. Just one game in the American League West, and just what we didn't want to have. The Rangers beat the Angels 9-4 to sneak just a little bit closer to the Mariners in the AL West. Right here in the big city, the Wenatchee Apple Sox are back in the Valley to begin their longest homestand of the season tonight. They'll take on the Edmonton Riverhawks for the first of 3 games. First pitch for all 3 games, they have moved it back. It was supposed to be 6:35, now it's 7:05 for all 3 games to account for the heat. The voice of the Apple Sox, Joel Norman, says fans can look for some fresh talent to complement an already stacked outfield.
We've got a couple of guys coming into town. Jack Hafferkamp is a kid who's going to UC Santa Barbara this fall. He arrived in town yesterday, and he's going to be playing a lot the next couple weeks or so here, because this is a guy who, at this time next week, is hoping to hear his name called in the MLB draft. Right now, he's projected as a 7th-round selection. So this is an incentive, I'd say, for fans to come out. Not just,
and he's here in the big city.
He is here in Wenatchee. And we are fully anticipating he will get drafted next week prior to his freshman year of college. So to me, that's an incentive for fans to come out this week. Come see a guy who is going to get drafted and who we're really looking forward to seeing what he brings to us. Because you look at this outfield, Dan, it's all kind of coming together. Because if you can put this kid in, Jack Hafferkamp from UC Santa Barbara, you put him in with Max Hartman and Aiden Doherty, find me a better outfield in this league. Find me a group of 3 guys who's going to do a better job defensively and getting on base than those 3 will.
Of course, my complete conversation with Joel will air in the back half of the program. After the Edmonton series, Wenatchee has Friday off, and they welcome the Cascade Collegiate Showcase team for a couple of non-league games over the weekend. That's followed by the All-Star break next week, and then a home series against Yakima Valley, and then Kamloops. In fact, the Apple Sox don't play another road game until July 26th, in just 2 games On the West Coast League scoreboard from our friends at Les Schwab, Nanaimo knocked off Kelowna 5-1, and the Pickles, who remain undefeated, by the way, in the second half of the season down south, they knocked off Walla Walla, a town so nice they named it twice. Portland beat the Sweets 9-2, and those are just some of the games that people are playing. Among the obscure holidays I could have chosen but didn't, it is Independence Day in Argentina. Argentina, I'm guessing the English or the Spanish, I honestly don't know. It's Independence Day in South Sudan. South Sudan gained its independence from Sudan proper like 15 years ago. It's a great place to visit if you're into floods and famine and civil unrest and disease. South Sudan is a great vacation spot. It's also National Sugar Cookie Day. It's Fashion Day. I know nothing to fashion. I rely for other people on that, and I don't really pay any attention to them. No, today we celebrate. Today is Cow Appreciation Day. It's the second Tuesday in July. I did all the research on this, and then I discovered it was Chick-fil-A's idea. Of course it was. Part of the Eat More Chicken campaign. Of course, we love cows because they give us milk and cheese and butter and yogurt and steaks and roasts and ground beef, leather for making bags and jackets and shoes. It is believed that cows were domesticated about 10,000 years ago in two different locations at the same time, in Europe and the Indian subcontinent. Cows used to be twice as big as they are now and just a nasty disposition, but they figured out if they took a couple of smaller runts of the cow herds and bred them together, they would get smaller bovine animals who also had a better disposition, and there you go. Cows are now all over the world. How many cows are there in the world? About 1 billion, over 1 billion cows in the world. Not surprisingly, India, who worships the cow, has the largest population of cows. Over 300 million cows, call India home. Brazil has about 219 million cows. China has 100 million cows. Here in America, we got 92 million cows. And the average cow, the average full-grown, healthy cow, can produce up to 7 gallons of milk a day. Happy National Cow Appreciation Day. I took that from my backyard. I did not. Today in history on this 9th day of July, maybe the first pregame pep talk before the Revolutionary War. Of course, the war was going on. George Washington orders the Declaration of Independence to be read out loud to members of the Continental Army who had gathered in southern Manhattan. Thousands of British troops were on Staten Island. They were getting ready for the Battle of Long Island. He said, "We got our own country now." It's exactly 5 days old. This was July the 9th, 1776. George Washington orders the Declaration of Independence to be read out loud to his troops, and then the Battle of Long Island was fought the next month, and the British won. Well, that was a tactical victory, actually, for the United States, because George knew we weren't going to win that one. They had more troops, they had the higher ground, so as they attacked Manhattan, George just basically worked his troops farther and farther up Manhattan until they hopped over into the Bronx and they got away with it. I mean, Great Britain won the Battle of Long Island, but you know, it's not about winning the battles, it's winning the war. Happy 156th anniversary to the second most important amendment to the Constitution. Obviously, the First Amendment, freedom of speech, would have to be right up at the top. But the 14th Amendment is a close second. If you're born in this country, you're a citizen. If you were naturalized, you're a citizen. You're all guaranteed due process of law. State and local governments cannot deprive anybody of life, liberty, or property without a fair procedure. Of course, now, because of the Bill of Rights, the Supreme Court has basically incorporated that into the states, which is, quite frankly, the way to go. And the states of the Confederacy, this was 1868, in order to get back into the Union, the states of the Confederacy were required to ratify the 14th Amendment on condition to re-enter the Union. Almost every significant Supreme Court decision over the last 150 years has some basis in the 14th Amendment. Read it. It's got lots of ambiguity in it for a purpose. It's 156 years old today. Today is the 106th anniversary of the deadliest train crash in history. Happened just outside of Nashville. An inbound local train collides with an outbound express train. head on. 101 were killed, 171 were injured. It remains to this day the deadliest rail accident in United States history. That is not a pretty sight. And finally, it was 68 years ago today, Bill Haley and his Comets were denied permission to play at Roosevelt Stadium in Jersey City. This was July the 9th, 1956. Rock Around the Clock was huge. See you later, alligator. The problem? The Jersey City City Council passed an ordinance that read, and I'm quoting now, "Rock and roll music encourages juvenile delinquency, and it inspires young females in lewd bathing suits to perform obscene dances on the beaches of Jersey City, New Jersey. So there'll be no rock and roll here." Nice try. 68 years ago today. Birthdays, the man who invented the sewing machine, then he had to go to court against everybody else to protect his patents. Elias Howe, born in the state in 1819, well, that would make it 205 years ago. He invented the sewing machine, and then Isaac Singer, among others, took his invention and started cranking out sewing machines without paying the necessary royalties. He was in court for 6 years, this guy was, till he finally started getting the payments that was due to him. Elias Howe, born in the state in 1819, and look who's 66 years old today, Tom Hanks. I remember watching him in Splash in the movie theaters. God, he was so good. And then Big, A League of Their Own, Sleepless in Seattle, Apollo 13, The Green Mile, Castaway, Saving Private Ryan, The Terminal, The Post, Philadelphia, Forrest Gump, 2 Academy Awards, 4 Golden Globes, 8 Emmy Awards, Presidential Medal of Freedom. Life is good for Tom Hanks. He's 66 years old today. Special thanks to our platinum sponsor, Alpine Air. You know by now if your air conditioner is working and working the way it should be, and if it ain't, your first call should be to Alpine Air for heat and air. Call Alpine Air. It's not too late to cool down this summer. And special thanks to our friends at Prestige Senior Living at Colonial Vista, their main campus in Wenatchee, and their satellite campus in East Wenatchee. Still to come, more Mike Mignotti pizza opinions. Hey, the guy likes his pie. What are you going to do? And then we're talking baseball with Joel Norman, the broadcasting voice of the Apple Sox, because we like talking baseball with Joel Norman, the broadcasting voice of the Apple Sox. It's coming up. You're watching a Tuesday edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
My favorite thing about living at Prestige is the activities. I think it's just so good for you to have a group that you can have fun with.
I think if you keep moving and you have a social life, you're going to live longer. And that attitude is fostered by the activity director and the managers. It's a good place, it's a happy place, and it's where I plan to stay forever.
Me too.
The new Hummer EV is everything you want in an all-electric vehicle. It's powerful, reliable, comfortable, and will take you anywhere you want to go, on-road or off. Why buy one of those lesser EVs when you can have one that uses them for traction? Order your Hummer pickup or SUV today from Sangster Motors, batteries included.
Since 1932, Camp Seneca, nestled on the beautiful shores of Lake Wenatchee, has provided children grades 1 through 12 with the ideal location for kids to learn new skills, have fun, and make friends while creating memories that will last a lifetime. Camp Seneca's rustic log cabins and their staff serve to provide each group a unique summer camp experience. Register for Camp Seneca today, www.campfirencw.org.
Downtown Wenatchee, something for everyone. If you're craving Asian comfort food, Steam Panda on Wenatchee Avenue is the restaurant to enjoy quality food. House-made soup, dumplings, sushi, ramen noodles, and salads to pair with your favorite boba tea. Stop by Steam Panda today.
Downtown is the heart of Wenatchee. Discover food and beverage spots, delightful shops, and countless services. For the latest on downtown arts, entertainment, and more, go to downtownwenatchee.org.
Downtown Wenatchee, it's all here.
Most of us are in touch with the internet in one way or another all day long. A fast, secure connection matters. It keeps us entertained, informed, and in touch. Localtel cares about your connection. We know strong, reliable internet with your choice of speed makes life better. If you need fast, reliable internet, or maybe an upgrade, or you just have questions, connect with us by visiting localtel.com or call 509-888-8888 today.
This is Mike Mad Dog McNally, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. Now, I was recently watching a cop show on TV. It was the LA cops. They were investigating a murder. And apparently the victim had ordered a pizza and had been killed by the delivery person. The murderer killed the delivery person, yada, yada. Okay, but the delivery person, after the murder, then helped themselves to a slice after killing the guy. Now, the very astute cop said, "Oh, the suspect is from the East Coast." And the other cop asked how she knew that. And this very knowledgeable detective said, "Because he folded his slice of pizza." Yeah, that's how we do it. Of course, you West Coasters, first of all, you have no idea what real pizza is. And secondly, you don't need to fold your pizza since it's as stiff as cardboard. This is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and that's my opinion.
Highlander Golf Course and Grill, located in East Wenatchee, offers terrific views and challenging play for golfers at every skill level. From the golf course to the grill, you don't need to be a member to dine in style and play golf too. Highlander's well-groomed fairways and greens keep it difficult, yet friendly for your regular rounds of golf or a new destination for you and your out-of-town friends. Contact the Highlander Pro Shop today to schedule your tee time, outing, or tournament. Open 7 days a week, where everyone is welcome to play and eat.
Now there are even more reasons to meet at the Pybus Market. Outdoor dining and tastings, the fabulous Farmers Market, Saturday artisans on the concourse, and your favorites all week long. No matter the reason, it's always time to meet at the Pybus Market. Pybus Market, where community meets.
Downtown Wenatchee, something for everyone.
Collins Fashions has what you need for all your summer activities. Cool sundresses, special occasion dresses, capris, sports, shorts, tanks, tees, sandals, and tinnies. Collins, where fun meets fashion in downtown Wenatchee.
Welcome to Henry Harrow, purveyors of modern-day provisions. Stop in, meet the team, and shop their curated collections of home, kitchen, and bath goods. Downtown Wenatchee, it's all here. When you've been in business for 40 years, it's because you understand change and you put members first, always. Now Works is announcing a change in their membership model. Up to 6 people on one membership that you can mix and match. The more people, the bigger the discounts. Introducing the Works shared membership model. One membership, friends and family and flexibility. Works, the cleanest, friendliest, most helpful gyms you and your friends will ever join.
Welcome back to the program. Give the NCW Life Channel Orchestra a big hand. Entertained our studio audience during the break. And now it's time to talk Apple Sox baseball on a very warm Thursday. Normally when Joel Norman, Tuesday, when Joel Norman joins me, we go out to Paul Thomas Senior Stadium. But it's just too damn hot. That's all there is to it.
Yeah. We'll wait until game time to make sure we have to be outside. But no, looking forward to this series.
What was the weather like in Nanaimo and Victoria on the road trip? Is it?
It was low to mid 80s. Okay. It felt plenty warm, but I remember thinking a few times, boy, it'll be about 20 degrees warmer when we get back home. So this isn't much.
Yeah, it is going to be hot. In fact, we, unfortunately, as you know by now, I'm not going to be able to broadcast tonight's game against Edmonton for the simple fact our equipment can't handle it when it gets that hot. It simply can't handle it. But a good start to the second half of the season. Took 2 of 3 from Victoria, and then two of 3 from Nanaimo. As we roll tape of Sunday afternoon's shenanigans.
Oh boy.
Just a normal everyday baseball game. It's 6-0 Nanaimo, and then what the hell happened in the 6th inning? I don't recall. That's like a Little League kind of event going on.
It was so bizarre. I mean, I got to a point, you almost get to a point of acceptance with a game where you go, getaway day, emotional game last night, blowout early in this one. Okay, you know what? Let's regroup Tuesday. We're a little tired, feeling a little bit warm. We'll figure it out. Trailing 6-0 going to the 6th, 11 runs in the top of the 6th inning. I mean, I was telling a couple people there at Nanaimo, a couple people who just work for the team right by me, and I've said the last 3 years, whenever we come here, there seems to be some weird baseball played. Because in 2022, we had a 13-run 6th inning against Nanaimo. And then, of course, as you mentioned, Sunday, the Apple Sox scored 11 runs in the 6th inning. I credit it to just, taking advantage of a good opportunity. Nanaimo said, I think they kind of they looked at the situation. I think they felt comfortable with the lead. I mean, understandably, the way the game was going, their starter got pulled after 5 innings, and he was lights out. Guy at Everett Community College who the Apple Sox couldn't hit him. And I tipped my cap. It was a great outing. But then they went to the bullpen, and there was trouble finding the strike zone. And when they found it, it was at the heart of the plate. And Apple Sox hitters were just hitting it. So there was a stretch where 10 consecutive Apple Sox hitters reached between the first out and the second out of the inning. Just unbelievable stuff. Like you said, they're probably just waiting to get up there to hit, going, I want a chance now. I know what's coming. So it was fun to see the team didn't just turn in the towel in that sense, because I was told after the game that a big reason that rally happened was because of Max Hartman. Now, Hartman didn't even play on Sunday. It was his first game off this season, but Guy said that he was extremely involved in the dugout and saying, hey, let's go. We can't just, throw in the towel. Let's go do this. And to win a game like that, in a lot of ways, that doesn't matter. It was a rubber match, but again, we already won the first half. We know we're playing playoff baseball here in August, but to win that game and say, no, this does mean something, means that this team has much higher goals than maybe some other teams might have if they had won the first half already. But this team is really focused on putting together a complete 54 games in league play, and then hoping to obviously be playing for a championship. Is
this one of those games that the team's going to look back on if we make a deep run to the playoffs? You remember that game in Nanaimo back in the early July when we scored all those ridiculous runs and we could have just as easily packed it in, made our ferry reservations to get home, and we didn't?
Yeah, and not just that game. I'd say the series as a whole. In all 3 games, the Apple Sox came back. I mean, they did not do a good job of scoring runs early in the game. And I think they would be the first ones to admit it. But Friday night, 2 runs in the 9th inning to take the first lead of the night, 5-4 advantage. Saturday night, 2 runs in the 9th inning on an infield single, by the way. A runner scored from second base on an infield single to tie that game up before getting walked off in the next inning. And then Sunday, like we said, an 11-run 6th inning. You made sure you took care of the insurance runs too. So it says so much about the character of the group. They want to, when they show up to the yard each day, they want to play. And I was just telling you and Eric Grandstrom a moment ago, I mean, I've worked for teams here where there are days they don't want to play. And you never like to say that, but you can tell.
It's true.
It is true.
And you have to keep in mind that these are kids. These are teenagers.
Kids. There are teams that maybe are struggling a little bit. There are teams that they don't have the chemistry. This team is so talented and is so tight and cohesive that they want to play every day and they want to win a championship together. Whether it's a guy who just got here in the past week and has understood, hey, that's what the Apple Sox are about, or it's a guy like a Max Hartman who's been here from day one and he is very gung-ho on this being a winning team.
Teams pick up on leadership. Max is a perfect example. He's one of the older players on the team. He's almost a veteran, if you can be a veteran in the West Coast League. He's as close to it as they come. Players look to players like Max Hartman. He doesn't have to be a rah-rah, let's go kind of a guy. Just by his very body language, his teammates pick up on that, don't they?
Oh, no doubt about that. I think that's a thing where when you have a guy who played almost every game this past spring at a school like Washington State, Division I university, we have a lot of guys in the transfer portal, as is the nature of college baseball right now. The portal just closed last week, so a lot of guys are still looking for homes before this fall begins, and there are guys who they're confident but also a little uncertain because they know how important every single day is. Evan Cloyd, I'll give you him for an example. He had 2 4-hit games in the last 4 games played. And this is a guy, he's in the transfer portal from Cal Poly, extremely talented player. Played for the Portland Pickles the last 2 seasons. They just didn't have space for him, so we were happy to pick him up in season this year. And that's a guy who he's hitting the ball well, but in the back of his mind, it's, okay, but where am I going to college? Hey, where can I get a connection somewhere? So it's nice to have a guy in the sense like Max Hartman, like we said, where he's in place. He knows he's going back to WSU this fall. He's happy there, and he just wants to win wherever he's at. I was talking with him about that in BP the other day, and that's what he was telling me. And he was like, it's so nice to be in a place where the coaches care so much about the product. They want to win, not just for themselves, but for us and for the town. It's neat to be on a team like that, and that's, to me, that's a testament of a good ball player. A guy, wherever he is, no matter what time of the year, no matter how he's feeling, saying, what can I do to help this team win?
Where are we roster-wise? Are we still in the guys coming and going with fluidity, or are we kind of getting solidified here?
I think right now is about the most stable it's going to be. You know how it gets in late July. That's when guys start having to head home and whatnot, and that's around the corner. But here we are on July 9th, looking at this and saying, okay, we like what we have. We've got a couple of guys coming into town. Jack Hafferkamp is a kid who's going to UC Santa Barbara this fall. He arrived in town yesterday, and he's going to be playing a lot the next couple weeks or so here, because this is a guy who, at this time next week, is hoping to hear his name called in the MLB draft. Right now, he's projected as a 7th-round selection. So this is an incentive, I'd say, for fans to come out. Not just,
and he's here in the big city.
He is here in Wenatchee. And we are fully anticipating he will get drafted next week prior to his freshman year of college. So to me, that's an incentive for fans to come out this week. Come see a guy who is going to get drafted and who we're really looking forward to seeing what he brings to us, because you look at this outfield, Dan, it's all kind of coming together, because if you can put this kid in, Jack Hafferkamp from UC Santa Barbara, you put him in with Max Hartman and Aiden Doherty, find me a better outfield in this league. Find me a group of 3 guys who's going to do a better job defensively and getting on base than those 3 will.
Again, Edmonton is in town today, Wednesday, and Thursday. You're off Friday. Couple of non-leaguers against the Cascade Collegiate. What is it, the All-Star? What's
Cascade Collegiate League Showcase team. Yeah, okay. The Cascade Collegiate.
Made up of?
It's kind of made up of this. It's this league that is maybe a tier below the West Coast League. They play a lot of games. I think they're all in one location over weekends. And these are guys who want to be in the West Coast League. So it serves as both a really good scouting opportunity in the sense that, these are guys who want to be in the West Coast League. The Cascade Collegiate League markets itself as a league that wants to send guys to the West Coast League. So by playing them, we get a chance to kind of say, hey, who are some guys on this roster we would like to potentially be playing for us? So there's a lot of incentive to have them on the schedule for that reason. And it's also great because we're going to get a chance to use some guys and rest others. We've been,
especially in this heat.
Absolutely. And, we've been a little banged up, as a lot of teams are right now. Roberto Gonzalez didn't make the trip this past weekend. His hands have been bugging him, but boy, anyone who has seen him play knows how electrifying he can be. But, he's going to get a chance to play these 3 days with Edmonton and probably rest a bit this weekend. James Castagnola, our everyday third baseman from UC Irvine, has been banged up as well, and you want to make sure we keep his wrist good to go so that he can be here in the playoffs. So we'll get a chance to see some of these guys in action, some of these new players as well. I mean, even tonight, the guy pitching for us against Edmonton, Karsten Swim, this is a guy heading into his freshman year at Gonzaga, and we know he had a rough first game with us against Victoria, but Dan, there are guys, when you see them struggle, okay, you are just a quick fix away from being really good. You don't just hit 94 miles per hour with your fastball.
And he was, to all due respect to him, he's new to the team, and he hadn't pitched in a long time.
He had it. But again, like I said, his tools were there. And that's a guy who I think fans, you're going to see him on the mound. He's a big left-hander, and you see the glove popping after pitches. It's going to be fun to watch. And what's nice, he's going to Gonzaga as well. So we have a lot of good mixture of the local talent from the local schools coming in, but also a lot of high-end universities sending players as well.
Big, strong, strapping, handsome guy throwing strikes. People are probably going to think it's me up there. That would be my guess. All-Star break is next week. The All-Star game is on Wednesday of next week. How does the All-Star selection process work in the West Coast League? How does that? Because we're putting guys on the team, and even if you make the team, I'll predicate this, Joel. You say, it's an honor to make the team, but I could use a couple of days rest. So thank you, but I'm not going. Talk about that whole scenario.
It's an interesting process because it hasn't been done since 2019. So we, in a lot of ways, are trying to remember what the league did before, and also see, hey, what do we want to change from what was done before? So in 2019, I remember we had 4 All-Stars that season. Granted, the league had 12 teams then. We're at 16 right now. So, not to be arrogant about it, but I would think as first half champs, I would think we'll have at least 4 players. Personally, I think
Hartman's a no-brainer.
I think he absolutely should be. I think Evan Canfield is a no-brainer with an ERA under 1. But after that is where we go, okay, well, what about that guy? Well, maybe they want him instead. We're trying to figure that all out. I would anticipate by this afternoon or tomorrow, we'll know the roster for sure. But in my mind, I think it's safe to say Hartman and Canfield should be there. Their numbers speak for themselves. Max Hartman's an everyday player, hitting well over 300, had a 10-game hitting streak, leads the league in runs scored. What do you want? And besides that, hitting over 300. Evan Canfield, his resume speaks for itself. He didn't start this past weekend because he's a little bit banged up and probably would not pitch in the All-Star game anyway. But for me, that makes it even easier to decide, let the guy go because he should be an All-Star.
Where is the All-Star game this year?
Bellingham.
Bellingham. So it's somewhat, that means players from Nanaimo and Edmonton and Kelowna and Kamloops can easily make it to Bellingham, and the other teams can head up I-5. So if you make the All-Star team, you're probably expected to play because it's not a long commute.
No, and it's a good location for it.
Sure.
And that's what's going to be interesting to see in coming years is how they decide that as our league just continues to expand. But Bellingham is a nice central location, and this will be the third time that they've hosted it as well. But I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm planning to go up to the All-Star game, and I remember how fun it was when Bend hosted it in 2019, and I can't wait to see the show that Bellingham puts on.
$2 for $2 Tuesdays tonight, by the way, because it's Tuesday with Edmonton in town, and that means select items are tickets are, first of all, $2 off. I know that, and then selected items in the concession stand, right?
Yeah, those are always rotating ones. We've been doing a lot of times, the Bud Light seltzers and the Rainier beers, $2 off there, which it might taste a little better on a warm day like this for sure. But I might have to have a couple of those after the broadcast and how warm it'll be. But
or you could just do a Harry Carey and pop a couple of Budweisers, in the sixth inning.
Yeah, but it's stuff like that will be $2 off. I'm sure we're going to have a couple of other fun things on hand there. We always have I don't know how many people know about the Aloha Mobile Espresso stand that's right behind home plate.
They bailed me out a couple of times. I'm out of gas and go get an iced coffee. They take care of you.
They are great. They got the coffee. I know they sell freezer pops as well, and we've had them the last 2 summers, and it's neat to have a variety of items there that we don't always have at the concession stand too. So plenty of cold drink beverages are going to be available, whether they're alcoholic, non-alcoholic, and it's going to be a nice night despite the heat because, like we said, my favorite thing with Paul Thomas Senior Stadium is when the sun goes down, the temperature really starts to get a lot more comfortable outside. It might be a little bit warm that first inning, but after that, once the park's really in shade, it makes for a great night.
And it should be pointed out, as you probably know, the third base line is in shade pretty much the whole game because they have the big trees there. So it's not like you're sitting in the sun cooking like a chicken.
Exactly.
No, almost the entire third base line is in the shade.
And we see a lot of people will migrate over to first base once the sun does go down. So they do like to start on that third base side, and frankly, there's more seating over there anyway, so that helps, and it was designed for that reason. But no, we're expecting to be comfortable once the sun goes down. It's just those early stages. So in that case, we say to people, hey, look, gates open, for a 6:35 game at 5:35. Come, if you want to come a little bit closer to game time, go ahead. Maximize your time staying cool. But then, we want to see your support because this is a great ball club right now, and we need our fan support. We're going to have playoff games here. We know we're going to be here on August 11th for Game 2 of the North Division Series, and a big reason why the Apple Sox are still taking the second half seriously is that they want to lock up home field advantage throughout the postseason. If they have the best overall record, not just first half, but first half and second half, if they have the best record in the division, they'll host the North Division Championship game if they get there. If they have the best record in the league, we'll host the West Coast League Championship game if we get there. And look, any advantage you can get over the Corvallis Knights when they've won 7 championships in a row, and who we would anticipate, if we advance, we probably would face them. We want to play that here. Tell them to come to our ballpark and keep their streak alive.
They're gettable this year.
I think so too.
I think they're gettable.
I think so too. There's been a couple of other times I've thought that, and they've found a way to get through. But to me, if this streak is going to end for them, they've got to play on the road in a do-or-die game where the opponent gets a chance to bat last. So I would love that if the Apple Sox can do that, but that's Mitch Darlington's mindset. We went into the second half saying, hey, this is great. We won the first half. But now it's like, okay, well, what's next? And that's locking up home field advantage.
Storm and Joel Norman, everybody. Once again, the Riverhawks from Edmonton in town tonight, tomorrow, and Thursday, of course, the Edmonton Riverhawks, so they'll be using the metric system tonight. Just don't let that throw you. They get Friday off. I think the whole team's going to go up to Lake Chelan and goof off and dink and become a team, because then they got a couple of games of the weekend that doesn't count anyway. It's time for the guys to chill out and enjoy the beautiful area. Storm and Joel Norman, say hi to Jose and Allie and Coyote.
Absolutely.
I've had great conversations with Coyote, and Coyote doesn't say a word.
He's a good listener, and hopefully he stays cool this week.
He's a great listener. Storm and Joel Norman, everybody give him a big hand. Stay cool tonight, all right?
Absolutely. Thanks, Dan.
You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. We will be right back.
At Confluence Health, our mission is clear: to provide exceptional care for our community. We believe in healthcare that's personal and local, because we're just like you. members of this great community.
We are Confluence.
Local care by and for our community.
Local care by and for our community.
Local care by and for our community.
We are Confluence.
When you need to relax and recharge your body and mind, retreat to the comfort of stressless furniture at Boswell's. Designed to harmonize with the natural movements of your body, it's where true comfort begins and every day should end. Get a $100 instant rebate for every $1,000 spent and $200 off 4 dining chairs at Boswell's, 2915 Easy Street in Wenatchee.
The Lake Chelan Chamber of Commerce presents Wonders of Wooden Avenue.
Welcome to the newest and funnest fashion boutique on Wooden, featuring mountain chic clothing and men's footwear from UGG, Brixton, Sorel, and Free People. Walk on into the Tiffany Blue Building on the 2nd block of Wooden and check it out.
It is nearly impossible to describe what you'll find in Lush Life. It's an eclectic collection of items from around the world. See it for yourself at the corner of Wooden and Emerson.
Wonders of Wooden Avenue, North Central Washington's premier shopping district.
Tour Moses Lake just a gas tank away. With its abundance of outdoor activities, Moses Lake is a great place to visit. From fishing and boating to exploring the city's attractions, there is no shortage of things to do. Whether you're enjoying any one of the variety of restaurants with the family or an adventure-filled day with friends, Moses Lake has something for everyone. Tour MosesLake.com and start your adventure today.
"75 degrees here in the big city, so we've ticked up about 3 degrees since this show started, live anyway, at 7 o'clock. I know a lot of you watch the 9 o'clock replay of this show, and I'm all for that. Omak is already 80 degrees. If you're just joining us, Omak hit 105 yesterday, which beat us by a couple of degrees, but it wasn't even a record. Record high on July 8th in Omak, it was 107. 105, and you don't break a record? That's pretty warm. Of course, we tied a record yesterday for July 8th. We had 103 degrees, which ties a record that was set back in 1968 and tied in 2012. It looks like we're going to break the record today. It's going to be hot. Other temperatures around the region right now, Ephrata's already at 79. Big thing in Ephrata, the relative humidity is only 30%, and it's going to get drier before it gets wetter. We have 2 slides to show for you, repeating that we did from the start of this program. First of all, the red flag warning is up and about, and that is when you have that recipe that makes wildfire fighters really, really nervous. That is hot temperatures, very low relative humidity, and a little on the breezy side. Now, it's kind of not going to be too breezy today or tonight. Wednesday is a little nerve-wracking, so use a little common sense, obviously. There's no reason to start a campfire when the overnight low is in the 70s. I mean, why would you need one of those? I'm just saying. So we do have we're under the red flag warning. We have an excessive heat warning. That's still going on. And a fire weather watch. So what does this mean? Any fire that gets going is going to really take off before the first responders can get on it and make something happen. So very low relative humidity, and unfortunately we're under the influence of that ridge of high pressure, but it is a ridge, it's kind of a dome. It's going to flatten out tomorrow, and that's going to allow the wind to kick up a little bit. We're going to have gusts about 25 miles an hour on Wednesday, gusts near 30 on Wednesday night, and we're still going to be well into triple digits on Wednesday. So in detail, here's your forecast. How about 108? Think you can handle that? Thank goodness my air conditioner works. That would be a record high. The record high on this date is 105 degrees, set back in 1975. Certainly in our wheelhouse. Look how warm it's going to be for the overnight low. I mean, how can you cool your house down if you don't have AC when the overnight low is 77? 105 on Wednesday with a little bit of wind, thus the fire weather watch. Bit of a cool down on Thursday, all things being relative. It ain't going to be 100 on Thursday. 68 for the overnight low on Thursday night, and then we warm right back up again, triple digits, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. It's July in North Central Washington. Have a great Tuesday. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.